Hey guys, JCB here. I would like to discuss with you on my experience with Ariana and the Elder Codex. It starts off with one person being able to provide magic to humanity. This was done through the 7 codices until someone intervened and the magic has now disappeared. This makes our purpose to repair these books and restore magic back into the world. Next, we take the role as Ariana to go inside these books and repair the magic to return. This will be done through the metroidvania genre, where we can run through a 2D plane to reach our main objective. The hand-drawn design is done really well to make it feel immersive and take us back in time to explore what's really going on. Along the way, there will be enemies that will try to stop us, as our method is to fight back with using magic spells. At first, we can use Ariana's source of magic to eliminate them since she wasn't affected by this disaster, and the further we go repairing these books, we will be blessed on being able to use more magic spells for future travels. The main thing that impressed me with using magic is how it is utilized. There is no use for an MP meter, as this is done with a cooldown system. The magic is activated right away with a press of a button, and the flow is perfect as the resource would never run out during battle. Positioning is key though, as each magic has its own range and effects applied to it. The rate of it can be upgraded along with gaining extra effects for faster results. This creates pure madness on the screen to show how powerful we can eventually become. In addition, enemies have elemental weaknesses that we can use to our advantage. This would add elemental value onto them, and once filled up will cause an elemental burst. These are huge explosions that push them back, and if there are more enemies nearby, we can create a chain effect for extra damage. This adds in extra flow by having to use the correct magic spell that is needed to wipe away multiple enemies with ease. There are extra combat features involved when dealing with the stun gauge. This can be filled up by using any attack, which will leave them stunned for a few seconds once filled up. A quick method to do this is by forming combos together with using the sword and a magic spell. This adds in an extra layer to our strategy that will be useful against enemies with larger amounts of HP. As for our main goal, the repairs are scattered across the map where we would need to reach over to that destination. Some of them are already there on the screen to interact with, and others are hidden as we would need to take care of a certain enemy for it to be unlocked. Once the repair process begins, we may need to take out a horde of enemies that are filled with different obstacles inside, or it could show us a vision of past events which points us in the right direction to the next repair. It's a cool idea for progression, as we can always expect something new to look forward to. The last repair for each book will be a boss fight that we would need to take care of. These can be brutal as they have 2 parts to them. The first part introduces us to its attacks until we cut its HP down to the halfway mark, where they go berserk and start throwing out even more attacks across the screen. These were done great as they were the hardest challenge to face, which sometimes took me several tries to defeat. Once we have repaired a codex, we can return back to the library and learn more about the story. We will be introduced to several important characters that will tell us how well we are doing with our progress, along with seeing the different character dynamics that Ariana shares with them. I enjoyed seeing these conversations go to greater lengths on being able to display the different emotions that Ariana must face, along with voice acting being used to make it feel like a JRPG. This gets further expanded when we can run around the library and get to read books that explain more about the lore. It's fully optional to read into this at any point, but I enjoyed going through them since it provides a lot of world building to engage even more on what's to follow. Other librarians cover up the rest of the library when we are roaming around, as they each have their own things to say. Their personalities differ on their past experiences with Ariana but they all have faith towards her restoring magic back into the world. The conversations also get updated once each book gets restored, so it's nice to run back to them each time to encounter further private actions and learning even more involvements they may have towards the story. At these times, we can also prepare for the next codex from the items we have gathered in the stages. This is done by defeating monsters and exploring the environment to collect gems and remnants that we can use to craft new accessories and magic spells. We can speak to Vesta and Davina to help us out, as this can get us prepared for the next weaknesses based on the codex, or making it easier to go past the traps that we may encounter. In each of these books, they have a difficulty attached to them, as we can choose in which order we want to repair them. Ideally, I went from easiest to hardest, as the main differences I saw from this was the level design getting more complex with its platforming and puzzles. Also, we can always go back to the books we have already repaired, as we may be able to explore areas that we couldn't once reach due to not having the ability learned. This would entice us with extra rewards and discover new interactions with characters and past events that will give extra context for the story. In-game achievements are also helpful of reaching milestones to actions we have done for a number of times to reach higher amounts of currency for better items. Lastly, I completed this game in around 17 hours, as it wraps up the ending perfectly to explain in greater detail for the aftermath on what happens next. We get to have closure from everyone, and having others being reunited again that Ariana fought so hard for brings extreme joy, as we had to endure a long journey to reach this pinnacle of a conclusion. Overall, Ariana and the Elder Codex is a fantastic game that gives us a great magic system on being able to perform multiple magic attacks in succession. The story is fully covered in great detail like a JRPG that will bring great memories for years to come. If any of you guys have any experiences with this game, feel free to share in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful day.